The Experience Pros Radio Show, home of the original Fan Braggin' Fridays. Take just 20 seconds to become a business revolutionary by sharing a fan braggin' story of great customer service by using the hashtag FanBrag or calling the Fan Braggin' hotline at 855-FAN-BRAG, FANBRAG. Now back to Angel and Eric, the Experience Pros.
Welcome back to the Experience Pros Radio Show. Let's talk a little bit about your credit score. Right? We can't escape it. It affects every aspect of our financial lives, our mortgage, any loans we take, insurance, interest. I mean, even if you want to have milk delivered to your house, they want to pull up your credit report. Well, our next guest says that we don't know the first thing about taking care of our credit score. Our guest is Anthony Davenport. He wrote the book, Your Score. He used to work for the dark side. He was a dreaded loan officer for Bank of America and Wells Fargo, and he discovered something about credit reports and credit scores. And he says the system is flawed. Anthony Davenport, welcome to the Experience Pros Radio Show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well,
I don't like to talk about my dark past as a banker. Then I'm atoning for my sins now by helping people on the other side.
All right, so give us a little background. You worked for the other side, and now so what did you see, and what's going on that you want to do differently for your clients?
Yeah, so as a banker, I kept seeing all these credit reports come across my desk. And I'd noticed that just a few points one way or another could make a difference between whether they qualified or not, or whether they paid an extra couple $100s per month on a big loan. And so I started asking, my fellow colleagues, hey, how do you work with this thing? Like, how do you improve someone's credit score? Very few people knew anything about it. So I started digging in to make that kind of my niche. But along the way, I figured out, hey, credit's now starting to be used for everything. And it even gets into your home and auto insurance rates. Most people don't realize this, but they're taking a look at your credit and they're determining how big of a risk you are and what your premium should be based upon your FICO scores.
Now, the banks are pulling these, right, as they're getting this information. They know what our number is, and yet and knowing that just a few tweaks in that number can change the difference in what we spend, yet they don't even know how to help us. I mean, if they don't know, then how can we possibly know?
Right.
Well, here's the worst part about it. Almost every bank right now has a policy that if their loan officers do figure out how the credit system works, they're not allowed to coach or advise you on how the game is played.
Wow.
So what do we do, Anthony?
Well, it starts by getting access to a real credit report. What most people don't understand is that the reports that the banks and lending institutions use are not the same ones that you can get as a consumer. So most consumers think, hey, I'm going to go to Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, or directly to the credit bureaus to get a copy of your credit report.
Right.
Those are baloney reports. They're worthless.
Well, where does the bank go?
So the bank goes directly to the three bureaus, but they get access to different reports. And it was kind of buried in all the Equifax news last year, but the three bureaus paid fines of $25 million a piece for falsely advertising that the reports they were selling you as a consumer were the same as the banks were using.
Wow.
So we made sure that one of the early parts of the book, we say, here's a few different tactics that you can use to get access to the real credit report, and then how to interpret and read it, because it looks nothing like the cute and bubbly things that you can get as a consumer.
I can imagine.
Right. Okay. So this is why the book, Your Score, An Insider's Secrets to Understanding, Controlling, and Protecting Your Credit Score, is helping the average person improve their credit. So what are some things? I mean, we just came off of the holidays, so we all overspent, right? And we all want to get into that heavenly, I don't even know what the goal should be for our credit score. Where do we start if we're not even getting the true report, Anthony?
So get the real report one tip you can do is you can ask a real estate agent friend, if you have one, to then ask a banker to get one, because they're not supposed to give it to you. Banks are forbidden from doing that, but they will usually do it for people they get business from. Ask them for the report, take a look at it. There's 3 numbers that they're going to give you, because there's 3 different bureaus. That means you have 3 different FICO scores, not just one.
Wow.
And the banks use, in almost every case, the one in the middle.
Oh, yeah, that's
So
interesting. I have a girlfriend who's in the mortgage industry, and she had done a workshop, and she was talking about the credit scores. And she said that they used the lowest one, the worst one, out of all those 3 scores. And so even that probably varies from institution to institution.
Yeah, if you're like getting a loan with your partner, for example, they're going to use whoever has a lower score between the 2 of you.
Wow.
So once you get a copy of this thing, you need to make sure that everything is accurate on there, because almost every case that we see, something is inaccurate, and it's throwing it off. An account that doesn't belong to you, a collection account you maybe didn't know about. And I advise people to do this at least every 6 months, just to make sure everything's on the up and up. Once a year, like right now is a great time to set your goals for the year.
Sure.
What kind of credit do you need? Do you need a rewards card? Do you need a mileage card? Are you going to get a mortgage? Or are you going to get an auto loan? And make sure that your credit is, we like to call it pretty enough to get what you want. Because if you're walking around with average credit, just the average American with the average credit, over the course of your lifetime, you're going to spend several $100,000 extra than someone who has an A+ FICO score, which is a 740. That's the A+ mark that you want to hit.
It's really interesting, Anthony, that to hear, and we've heard this before, is that most of our credit reports have wrong information, and yet there's so much emphasis and weight in decisions made. And in many cases, they're not even asking us, is there something on here that shouldn't be on here, and how can we fix it, and how can we bring it up? And yet it's epidemic that you hear almost every time there's something wrong on there. And I think that the system is definitely broken. Anthony, I know the book is called Your Score, an Insider's Secrets to Understanding, Controlling, and Protecting Your Credit Score. How do you want our audience to follow you? I know you've got great resources. This is a great conversation. Like you said, it's a great time of year. And I know it's a complicated subject for a lot of people. So what is the best way for our audience to connect with you?
On Twitter at Regal Credit MGMT.
Regal Credit MGMT. So kind of like management, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Exactly. Regal. I'm gonna look you up on Twitter right now. Regal Credit MGMT. And then and where do you want us to get a copy of the book?
So on my website, anthonymdavenport.com/yourscore, there's different little tips and things like that from the book, as well as a multitude of places where you can buy it. But it's on, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, the independent booksellers. Oprah just included an excerpt of the book in Oprah Magazine and in her money newsletter on how to recover from identity theft, because that's now a big issue facing credit.
Yes.
Oprah talked about you?
I just got it like that.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that is
You rock.
so awesome.
Wow.
Right? We're 3 degrees of separation to Oprah's media. I love that. Well, Anthony, congratulations. And thank you for what you are doing to help consumers with their credit score. Because again, there's so much weight put on it. We're spending, we're overspending in interest rates and fees and insurance rates.
We need to be educated.
We absolutely do. The book is called Your Score. Make sure you follow Anthony, his Twitter account at Regal Credit MGMT, and pick up the most recent copy of Oprah Magazine, because you're going to see a feature in there. I think that's pretty amazing. Anthony, we'd love to have you back.
Would love to be back.
Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thanks so much.
All right. So, Janice, when was the last time you looked up your credit score?
Oh, my goodness. I'm in trouble. I guess I better start doing that, right? Well, the thing is, a couple $100 a month.
It adds up.
Just because.
Right?
You're right.
You are right. You want to give yourself a raise. stop paying so much in fees. That's
There you go.
kind of a good place. A good
That's
place
a big
to start.
eye opener. Thanks, Anthony. That was huge.
That was, and to have somebody who worked at the banks and is on the other side, and so now he's out there helping consumers make a difference. It impacts so many things, and there are so many little things, easy things that we can do to make adjustments to those numbers as well. The book is called Your Score. Check it out. I'm going to be checking out my credit report. That is for sure. You're listening to Positive Business Talk. Get our free report for how you can get even more media exposure at massivemediaexposure.com.
You're listening to the Experience Pros Radio Show, America's home for positive business talk.